Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we're going to be doing a plugin review. We're going to be reviewing a plugin called Escape Artist. So whenever you get a plug, and this one's a delay plugin, and it's got this really funny robber stealing fancy art and running away. Yeah, but he biffs it, but he gets back up, and he's happy he got away. I don't know how the artist feels about this. Maybe it's like an analogy to the music industry. I don't know. But let's not read too much into it, right? So first, when you get something like this, I like to run sine waves through it. See what I get out, right? Sine waves, one of those fundamental signals you should run through plugs to hear what they do to your stuff. Now, when you do this, we should probably also run stereo and mono. I'm going to use a saw wave, well, a distorted saw wave for the stereo signal because that's more interesting anyways. So let's go ahead. Let's run some stuff through it. So first, the dry signal. Cool, right? So that's what we have. So first, let's see what shorts sound like. I like to hear that. Let's use an ARP for that. ARPs are pretty cool. Bring the gate range down. All right, so that's an ARP. Let's check out what a just straight up longer tones sound like. And so you'll notice there's this pulsing effect there. I'm going to explain to you a little while later why that's such a good thing for this plug, because this plug has its own sound. If you're going to get a new delay plugin, it better not sound like one I already have, right? That's like the goal. So this one definitely has its own sound, and they've incorporated, whenever it's a plugin with few knobs, that means they're aiming to have one knob. Well, generally it means this. They're aiming to be musical, so that one knob controls a meaningful effect, as opposed to having 30 knobs that, when configured correctly, will do something similar to what maybe this one knob will do by itself. And so I really like the simplicity here. The interface is a little large, and you can't shrink it down, but I don't think it's bad. I mean, you work with a plugin, it's open. When you're done with it, you close it. So let's go ahead, let's run that saw wave through there. So here is a saw wave. Let's turn it down maybe a little bit. So right now, this is actually a mono saw wave. I did this on purpose so we could compare stereo versus mono, because this plugin has special stereo processing stuff in it. So let's go ahead. Let's mess with the saw wave on a dry setting for a sec, so we know what it sounds like. So now let's go ahead. Let's try 50% wet. Let's increase the distance and see what that sounds like. All right, now let's turn on the stereo. So there's a huge difference with stereo information with this delay. So like when you pull it open, that's really important to know about. Let's pull open a clarinet. So here's a clarinet. Let's start with staccato phrases. So staccato. Here we go. And first, let's do dry. Oh yeah, there's no low C. It's kind of it robbed me. Okay, so now let's go ahead. That was a 164, generally frowned upon for a final chord. Let's turn on the 50% wet. See what this sounds like. This is recorded in stereo. That's pretty cool. So there you have it. And so this has a unique sound to it. And let's go ahead, let's break down some of what exactly is happening here. So we have a wet dry knob, not a ton going on here, but we have this size and this distance. And the distance actually controls the animation of the guy running away. So, he's coming out this window. I don't know like how he fit through that gap. That's pretty amazing. Maybe someone's handing him stuff, but he's hanging from it. So it's like, wow. Because if you look at him, he's kind of a fat guy. Like, he must be a successful thief and not have to steal very often, because I don't know how he fit through that window, or it makes sense why he tripped. And he's looking around. So, it's a delay plugin. So he's got to delay himself. That's my guess. But then he biffs it, because maybe he's got the latency tripped him up or whatever. But he gets up, and once you're 1,000 feet away, you got to be gold, right? So he's celebrating. He's like, I'm home free. He's going to go eat some food. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the unique things. So first off, this delay plugin is measured in feet. There's actually no sync knob. And so if you wanted to sync it up, you'd have to use your ears. But what does it mean to be in feet? If you're unfamiliar with what that means. What this means is there's going to be some amount of time, right, when it bounces off a surface, a delay, that is. So if I speak in a room and there's a wall 180 feet away, how long would it take for that to get back to me? It's an acoustics question, right? It could be on an acoustics test or whatever. So it's using like actual like feet to determine this instead of, millisecond readouts. So right off the bat, they're looking at this from a perspective of we want to give you something that is a general spatial effect. They're not giving you like some sort of microscopic, we're going to create this exact sort of delay effect with the ultimate precision. It's more of be musical with it. We're going for a feel rather than a precise number, which it's nice when plugins are straightforward like this. Okay, so now we have another question. So when we increase the distance, it makes sense it would take longer to get to us. But it also now we're going to have some filtering going on, right? Some of the frequencies will be absorbed, some won't. So this is more of like a reverb type deal. And that's why this plugin sounds the way it does. If you listen to it, you can hear it going through some sort of a filter or EQ curve or something. And you also hear it has these little ramps going up, right? If we play that last chord. Well, not there. Let's play a couple chords. And what actually is happening, this is a cool thing about this plug, is it actually has something in here that will detect like the volume increase, a bit like a compressor. It has a detector in there, and it will actually increase the volume level of the delay. And so you get that cool sort of like effect on it, which is pretty nice. So the size knob, now the size is an interesting deal, right? So in mono, the size knob doesn't really do as much. If we go back to our bass example. If we go to mono, you see it sounds just sort of like a normal delay. But as soon as we put it in and we give it a stereo signal, all of a sudden we've got this big stereo image. What's going on? Well, it's got a Haas effect that's actually going back and forth, varying Haas effect. So it's putting a very, very slight delay, creating this stereo image that is a variable delay. And so what ends up happening is you get that pulsing that you hear. Now, you might also be wondering, okay, well, where's the feedback knob? That's sort of a big deal on delay plugs. Well, the feedback is actually, the feedback is determined by the distance and the size combined. So you combine them together and you get some amount of feedback. And so you never need to worry about like 100% feedback and feedback loops and stuff. It's already taken care of you, for you. It's already taken care of for you. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so now you might be going, okay, well, this is all really cool and nice. Now, the real secret, though, is, by the way, side note, you can hold down shift and get fine control. But anyways, the real secret is, like, when am I going to pull this out? Why would I grab this one rather than one I already have? And the answer is this thing resembles a lot like a delay but I mean, well, it is a delay. It resembles a lot more like a verb than other delays where you have to work a little, like, in my opinion, you have to work much harder. And that's because there's a series of filters and things that happen and the combination of knobs. It just makes it so that this is better for just a general spatial feel. So if I'm going for something that's going to have either a trippy feel or sort of this big open space feel, a reverb oftentimes will sound very muddy. And so you might opt for a delay like this one. And you can try messing with delay settings, but I find that this one excels in getting that particular feel right away. Or if we were to go back to the clarinet, a much more mellow sound. I almost played something from the first Spider-Man movie. It's that part where he's singing about Uncle Ben. So anyways, yeah, so that's what's pretty cool about this is that's why I would grab it. That's when I would pull it out. And I just like the little guy running around so much. It's just like hilarious to me. You can't shrink the display. Maybe in future versions you will be able to. Not a huge deal because you just open it up, you do your work, and then you close it. And it's a good habit to close your plugins anyways. And I'd rather have big knobs than small knobs that I have a hard time turning or controlling. So I like this. Something you should know: when you enter the serial code to activate like your copy, you need to actually close the plugin. Like it tells you to close it. And I thought there was going to be like an X somewhere on the screen that was like, you know, close it. But you got to like exit out of the plugin, and then you got to go and click it open again, and then it'll work. So just so you know, when you put in your code or whatever, that's that. The website, let me see here. We'll look up Escape Artist. I'll put a link in the description. I don't know why I'm typing with cap locks on. Escape Artist, VST. And it's by this typewriter.com. They have a video explaining it as well. But if you go to their website, here it is. It's $10. That's a good deal. So just for a delay plugin, I'm not complaining. So, yeah, I'm still baffled by how that guy fit through that window. If anyone, I want to hear an explanation. Maybe he ate a salad that day. I don't know. He did something to fit through the window because he's a big guy. But yeah, so that's that. As far as like a delay, it does what I expect it to. Doesn't have anything that I'm like, what the heck is this? It does have, so, I mean, as far as things that sort of I think are a little bit of a fallback is the Haas effects. Because of that, you get this pulsing sound at a consistent speed, so you can't really mess with the speed. And so you get this phasing thing that goes through your sound. So if you want like a sound that's going to be more smooth, like a typical reverb, then you're probably going to want to reach for something else. But that would be a reason why you might grab this one in particular. In a track, you could have many things. This would be a lot easier to sidechain and a lot less noticeable. And you could make cool rhythms out of this. That would be, when I say cool rhythms, when you got to consider how the echoes come up. So when the echoes come up, are they going to happen when your kick drum is happening, or are they going to happen right after your kick drum's happening? So ideally, while you're working with this, you're going to find a feet mark that is going to be somewhere just after or just before, depending on your feel, where your kick is. Then you could sidechain your verb hardcore. He's stealing fancy art. I want to know what art's in there, man. So you could sidechain it. Sorry about that tangent. But you sidechain it, you can sidechain it a lot harder, and the main aspects of the verb would still come through your song. And so that's what I'm saying when I say this could be pretty useful for filling in gaps and still creating a clean sounding mix versus something that's just always outputting volume every time a volume duck happens. Every time a volume duck happens, you're going to hear that duck in the verb. But with this, there will be no such like sudden duck. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.